Hello, and welcome back to Journey to You, a podcast dedicated to helping you along your journey to becoming your best self. My name is Jaidyn, and I'm your host. And today we're going to be talking about how to stop comparing yourself to others. In this day and age, it seems like comparison is just part of our day-to-day life. It's normal, everyone does it. And, things like social media and always seeing other people's best highlights of their life non-stop every day tends to do that to you, because each day you're seeing something so exciting from someone new and you are comparing yourself because every day you don't have something exciting and new happening. And today I really want to help you get out of that habit because it is detrimental to your well-being. The reason that I was inspired to make this video is because I'm about 1 month into a 3-month challenge of not being on social media, and it has been so good for my mental health. I have found that I'm not having FOMO, that I am more able to switch off after a long day, after I hang out with a friend, after I have a day at work. I get to come home and actually relax instead of going on social media and feeling inadequate and jealous. And I'm not saying you need to quit social media to feel this way, but I have done a bit of research and found some things that may help. And that's what today's video is here to do. So let's start by understanding what comparison is. Comparison is when you evaluate or measure yourself, your successes, your life to other people's. Usually this is to do with achievements, abilities, circumstances, or appearances. There are two kinds of comparison. There's upwards comparison, which is when you look upwards and at people doing seemingly better and you start judging yourself, and that will lead to feelings of jealousy, inadequacy, and low self-esteem. And that's what we are going to be talking about in this episode. Although downward comparison is just as toxic, and that's looking at people who are not doing better and getting a bit of an ego boost because you are. That is not going to be the path for you to follow to become your best self. So stay away from doing that, but it's not what today's episode is about. So how does comparison start? When do we really start, rooting this habit? Because it really is just a negative thinking pattern at the end of the day. Well, it can start in really, really early childhood. Say that you're in preschool and you start noticing people around you are doing things that you have not done yet. So perhaps someone in kindergarten is a better finger painter than you, and you see them get a lot of praise for this amazing finger painting that they did, and you look at that and start feeling, oh, well, I must not be good. And just because someone else is good doesn't mean you're bad. But when you're a child, you can't really comprehend that. And then it's things like that just adding up all throughout your childhood. Maybe you've got a sibling and your parents often are making it a bit of a competition of who can do what first or better. And that will lead to really negative effects when you are an adult. And the really sad fact is, if that is a situation that you're in, only you can fix that now, because now you are the adult and you need to work on cutting that habit so you don't ruin your mental health any further. Moving on from childhood, look at high school. In high school, you're comparing yourself to your peers just as much, if not more, and not just in abilities and skills, but in terms of looks and popularity and relationships. And you might even start to see that, some of your friends are getting boyfriends before you. Some of your friends are getting more attention than you, more this, and it is very ego-y, this comparison stuff. So it is usually ego-y things that we are comparing ourselves to. And that's how it kind of starts, is it starts when you're a child and you're a teenager and you grow up and, by this point, now this is how you determine your self-worth. So then when you're an adult, you start doing that in the workplace or in your relationships, in your own family, and it's not good. You're just hurting yourself. Before we jump into the practical tips of how to actually stop comparing yourself, we're going to start by talking about setting up a supportive environment. It is a human reaction, and sometimes you have these human feelings. It's normal, and you need a supportive environment to help you move through these emotions. So surround yourself with friends who are aware that you're working on this, or family that are aware that you're working on this, so that if they hear you talking in a way that is clear to them that you are comparing yourself to other people, they can pull you up on it and try to help you through that. And if you can't think of anyone in your life who can be there for you as a support system, it might be time to start creating one by making an effort to make friends. Join a club on Facebook, a running club, and start showing up there, or a hiking thing, or there's so many. It doesn't even need to be a physical exercise one. It can just be a book club. Join a book club, make some friends that way, and really create a supportive network of people around you who don't make you feel inadequate. And by that, I don't mean people who are not as good as you. I mean people who are kind and will encourage you to be kind and look through the eyes of love instead of judgment. And that is also towards yourself. Start finding people who are aligned with your values, because those people will help you move towards becoming your best self on this self-development journey that you're on. And you're becoming a better person even just by clicking on this video and realizing that you want to make a change. That's honestly the first step. So the first technique that I want to talk about is limiting social media use. And social media at this point is most likely an addiction that you have, where I've noticed it this last month. I'll get up and I'll open my phone and I'll just look at it and be like, oh, what am I going to do? Because I've got a habit to go on and start scrolling on Instagram. So you can limit your social media use by setting time limits on your apps. You can do that in the settings of your phone. You can make a goal with yourself to not go on social media for the first half of the day, or to only go on social media during a particular half an hour window, and you will find straight away that you're starting to feel better. If you are a Instagram-aholic, you can set your favorites so that for the limited time you are on social media, the first things that come up are from your favorite people. And if you're using social media as a way to stay connected with your close friends, add your close friends to that list of favorites, and when you are going through social media, you will see their things, and maybe you'll see less of the Instagram models that you follow that you compare yourself to physically. And on that note, if you do that, if you are following Instagram models or just people in general who you look up to in a unhealthy way, in almost a they're good so I'm bad way, even if you are saying, oh, it's for inspiration, I would recommend removing them and unfollowing them. Hey, you know what? I lost 20 kilos last year. I'm all for staying motivated and looking at transformation videos and looking at fitness stuff. But looking at girls in bikinis that have highly edited photos is not going to set a realistic body standard for you, and it's just going to lead you to, you can imagine what that will lead to. It's not good. You do not want to do that. You don't want to be led down a really unhealthy path. The next technique is to practice gratitude. Honestly, gratitude fixes everything. The end. If you are worried about money and you are constantly looking at your finances and just freaking out because you don't have enough money, the universe is going to go, okay, we are going to create that for her, because that is what she's saying. That's what her thoughts are saying. That's what she's manifesting. And if you are not woohoo and that is not something that aligns with you, let me tell you, you can look at it from a scientific way as well. You have confirmation bias in your brain. You always are looking for things to confirm your beliefs. So if you are always telling yourself that you don't have money, you are going to only see that you don't have money because that's how your brain works. So instead of looking at someone on social media who just bought a house and you have $200 in your savings account or less and going, oh gosh, I'm so poor, put that down and list what you are grateful for. Wow, how lucky are you to be able to pay your rent this month? How lucky are you to have unlimited water? How lucky are you to have food to eat every day? And start looking through the eyes of gratitude, and the universe, it's going to send you more things to be grateful for. Now, the next thing I want to discuss is setting personal goals. If you see something or someone gets something and you're jealous, what is it you're jealous of? Ask yourself that question, because it's probably a sign that you are lacking something in your life. For example, someone buys a house. You might be jealous that they got to post a picture on Instagram with their big sold sticker. Your goal may not actually be to have a house. It may be for validation from others. And so you can then make a goal in alignment with that. How are you going to start getting validation from yourself? Or perhaps one of your colleagues gets a promotion into a marketing position, and that's something that you realize now that you really want. So you can set goals to start working towards a marketing position. Setting personal goals based on the experiences you're having with comparison is really important, because that may be your sign to start working on something, and maybe it's time for you to start looking at that. Look at what you are lacking to be jealous of. So if you're looking at Instagram models who are really skinny and you're going, oh, I really want to be like that, is it that you want to look like that, or is it that you want people to look at you the way you're looking at them, which it most likely is? Whenever you have a desire, it's the feeling from that thing that you are wanting. That feeling doesn't necessarily need to come from that thing. So for example, if you want to be a famous Instagram model, you may not actually have any real interest in marketing yourself and being in the public eye and messaging, basically cold calling businesses, asking for them to hire you as a model. You may not have any interest in doing that, in keeping up with standards that you may not even agree with ethically. It may be that you look at these Instagram models and you think that they have so much freedom, and so therefore you want freedom. So start creating goals to create a life with more freedom. And you can pair that with gratitude and start being grateful for all the ways you have freedom in your life. Being on your own path and having tunnel vision, instead of looking at all these other people around you doing different things that are achieving their goals, and great for them, really, genuinely, it is great for them and you can be happy for them. But still keep your eye on what you want and work towards that, because your path is your path. Their path is their path. Do not start trying to leave your path to walk theirs, because you're going to get to the end of their path and realize that actually everything that I'm doing is not in alignment with my values. Who would have thought that if you just blindly follow what someone else has done, you may get really far into a journey that is not meant for you? Oh gosh, how'd that happen? Stop. If you are halfway down that path now, you can get back on yours pretty quickly. And that leads really well into reframing your mindset. There's a lyric in that song, Jealousy, Jealousy by Olivia Rodrigo, which I love. And I don't know if she made it up, but it's the first time I heard it. And it was, I know their win is not my loss. And that's really how you should be looking at other people. And this is especially important when you are comparing yourself to the close people in your life, your friends and your family who you actually know. Because if you are comparing yourself to other people, especially those people, and you are jealous and you're going to feel bad, you may not be showing up as a very good person to them. And no one wants to have an unsupportive friend. I know you don't want to be an unsupportive friend, but if you're caught in this comparison trap, you might be being one because you're looking at their successes and thinking about your failures. And if you are on that level of ego, you may be trying to knock them down a few pegs just to make yourself feel better. I've had friends before that I've been speaking to about someone else really nicely, and they've tried to cut that person down, and it's made me feel really gross to be friends with that person. And obviously I can look at that person and realize that they have things they need to work on and they might be insecure, but it's up to that person to make that shift. And that, hey, I've been there as well. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I used to compare myself to everyone. And, if, someone lost heaps of weight before I did, I might look at them with judgment and be like, well, they did it the wrong way. That's not healthy. Like, no, their win is not my loss. And you can reframe that just by being aware of your thoughts. And when something negative or judgmental or comparison-y comes up, switch it. It may be that everyone's talking about how pretty this girl is and that you can see how pretty she is, so you must be ugly. No, that's not the case. Catch yourself when you are feeling those feelings and thinking those things and tell yourself, her win is not my loss. It can be completely true that you two look so different and you both be beautiful. Look at Angelina Jolie and look at Megan Fox. They both look different, but they're both beautiful. And so that can be the case, just because Megan Fox is beautiful doesn't make Angelina Jolie ugly. It's silly to think that way. And when you are aware of that and you start telling yourself a new story, a new narrative that two things can exist at the same time, then you'll be able to start believing that and creating that thought as the new habit, where you see your friend on Instagram who is posing and looking stunning and a 10 out of 10 and amazing. And instead of looking at that and thinking, I don't look like that. I wish I had her beautiful long blonde hair. You can look at that and go, wow, that long blonde hair looks so great on her. Comment some fire emojis. Really try to shift your way of thinking and reframe your mindset and understand that their win is not your loss. Then that brings us to the last technique of how to stop comparing yourself to other people. And that is to celebrate other people's successes. You are going to feel the best when you are living in alignment with your values. And if you at the moment aren't celebrating other people's successes because you are feeling bad that they're not yours, you're not going to be living in alignment. You're going to be feeling icky because you don't want to do that. It's a bad feeling. And what I want you to do and take away from this today is to make an effort to tell people that they're doing a good job. And if you see someone who gets something that you want, congratulate them. They've done something good. They've achieved something good. That's exciting. You're a good friend. You're a good person. You're going to be happy for them. Don't let your ego turn you into someone you're not and start talking about people in a bad way or thinking about people in a bad way, because you're just going to be attracting negative if you're just putting out negative. So next time you see your friend and they tell you really exciting news or, they look amazing, tell them. It doesn't mean that you are not a good person. It doesn't mean that because they have gotten a certain thing that you are lacking something. You guys might just be on completely different journeys and paths, and that's okay. That's what life is all about. It would be so boring if everyone was just doing the same thing. That's not what life is about. You're here to learn something. You're here to figure out what you're here to figure out. Your life shouldn't look like someone else's because you are not someone else. You are you. You have something unique to give this world. You have a unique voice. You have a unique point of view. You have unique experiences. Take that uniqueness and look at it with love and gratitude. And how are you going to further become even more unique? It's so exciting when you are able to be happy for other people's success and realize that if you get this little tinge of jealousy, figuring out what it is, what it is you want, and then working towards getting that, and say you figure out, I actually do want to be an Instagram model. That sounds really great. That's what I want to do. Reach out to people who can help you get there. Like, make a mentor out of your friend who's become one that you initially were really jealous of and were looking at like, oh, reach out to them and tell them, listen, like, you've really inspired me. And that's going to make them feel really good and happy to help you. And it'll help you along your journey, and you're going to make a good relationship out of it. And, I really feel like things often boil down to live in alignment with your highest self. Visualize your highest self and show up as them. If they started getting caught in thought loops of comparison, how would they handle the situation? And then act that. Pretend you are that person. And eventually it will become your new way of being. And that is all I have to say for that. Thank you so much for sticking with me in this episode. I hope you liked it. And if you did, please make sure to rate and follow the podcast, or if you're on YouTube, to like and subscribe, and make sure to turn on notifications as well so you can see when I create more content like this. And yeah, that is that. Thank you so much again. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.